Hello and welcome back to Games Post-Mortem Shell Part 2. This is Kyle of Jack7 Games, and we'll be taking a look at, I believe it should be the last part of Shell, unless this drags on. Then it might be 3 parts, it shouldn't. But, so this is back to a straightforward level. I want to try and do, I think I had it go back and forth between straight horizontal levels, horizontal vertical levels. I don't remember. It's been quite a number of years since I've played this. And this one I believe is for all intents and purposes finished. Like it has an end. This one, I don't believe anything happened to like a hard drive or a motherboard that caused this one to go. I just wasn't overall happy with the project, and a lot of it was just mainly for learning. A lot of my early projects were just learning. I would, tell myself that I was like, I want to make a Contra type game, and I would just find out a way to make a Contra type game with light Metroid elements. I had to make a foreground with that. Okay. So now we've crash landed after infiltrating one of the Cranacube posts, and now we gotta go into Cranacube headquarters. This is also not a very, very long game, but a lot of my games back then were kind of hindered by the fact that I was still learning, and I never wanted to have a game that really... I wanted to improve every time I made a game. Oh, that still looks good. The background here looks really good. I like the animation on those little pieces of machinery back there. What was I saying? I don't remember. Oh no, I remember now. Pretty much every project I wanted to push myself, but I never wanted to make the scope bigger than I could reach. I think that's very important, because sometimes I see a lot of people who they want to make, they have ideas for these really, really, really big games that they actually have no idea how to do. And I'm not saying I know how to do them either, but I always try to make a point to not reach out too far, because I don't know about any of you, but if I make my goals too high and I don't reach them, I get very upset, because it feels like I should have known this. I should know how to do this. I planned all this out, but I don't know how to go about it programmatically, which hopefully won't be a problem for too much longer, because I am not necessarily a programming minded. I've learned, and I'm very proud of what I've accomplished, coming from very, very, very little background on programming. Like I think I took an HTML class in high school, and that was the extent up until I started playing with Unity. So with that, as my kind of self-litmus test, I'm very proud with how this came out. I'm very proud with how all of them come out. Like I said that on Kid Klops too. Which way has it? Left? Left. Where's that guy? Let's have the shield there. I think we're about to get on our next boss. Looks good too. And the next boss, I believe it's like a big security robot. Let's see. That is an ugly cutscene. I think this one's literally just one picture that just kind of zooms out. That actually plays well into a theme that I use in Neo Force Gaiden. Which actually, depending on when you watch this, I should have some more news regarding Neo Force before we start on our next project. Which will be, if you played Neo Force, it'll be a lot different. I hope that's for the better. This is also very similar to a boss that I used in Multiverse, which will be the next game we look at. He's very similar in design, where he's just kind of big fists with a head that pops in and out. I remember this boss being kind of twisty. We haven't seen that yet. But he's very... This boss is not the best designed for telegraphing attacks. Like, that's okay. But when he slides his fist forward later, it's kind of hard to tell when he's going to do it. Also, that twist effect doesn't always work. Whoop, like there. So I definitely would have done that better. Oh! Oh. Okay. I don't know why that's linked up there. That's not good. Okay, well, we'll come back when I get back to the other boss. Editing jump cut time. Okay, and we're back. Alright, that was mildly annoying. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, because I really don't want to go through that again. Down slide. Alright. So, as I was saying before, I try to always push myself to do something I haven't done before, but I try not to overreach. Shield is helpful. I think it can be very daunting if you tend to overreach what you are capable of. I'm not saying always play it safe. I'm just saying try to improve, but try not to overexert yourself. This boss is definitely a little bit easier when I kind of read. Oh, the shield did nothing. Good news. We don't have to sit through that again. So now we're making our way up to the Cranny Cube headquarters. Some dialogue from the first level? Okay. And also something I learned when replaying some of those levels. Doesn't always work. Okay. Doesn't always work, but some of the levels I found out you can just kind of blast your way through. If you just run and shoot, you'll never run into any problems. I don't remember if that's true for the whole game. Seems to be. Oh, nope. Nope, 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 nope. Yeah, why not? Whoa! Shield, which may or may not be helpful, apparently. Ooh. Okay. Neat. Yeah, this is, don't know why that's still like that. Interesting. So that uses the, parts of the dialogue from the beginning. And I never noticed. I also never realized how heavy I was in that gray sky background. I mean, it's not always the crux of the background, but it is very ever-present. Interestingly enough, so the mechanic that instantiates these random power-ups through these boxes, I actually used the same kind of code for the next game, to Multiverse, but in a very, very, very different way, which is used to do the procedurally generated levels, which we'll look at after this. And I think it's like this level, I think it's 2 more levels in the end. If not, this may be a 3-part series. Oh, wait. Yeah. I don't know why I hang out the screen like that. You're not supposed to be. I don't remember this boss fight. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you just... It's not terribly hard. It's just all memorization with with a conveyor belt and these little lasers. Let's see, will that help at all? Will that hurt? It'll hurt. Yeah, it's supposed to be a skull that's in that little test tube. Not test tube, but not test. This little experimental tube is supposed to be the ever-present brain behind Cube. And that's not doing anything. In the box. Yes, it does. A bomb, which is useless against bosses. So, I definitely one thing I've noticed is I've come a long way when it comes to weapon design. Making sure, one, that weapons are kind of synergetic. Is that, I don't know if synergetic is a word. But make sure they're, I guess, more cohesive to the environment. These just kind of... Yeah, they're different bullets, but they don't do much more other than that. That will definitely be helpful. And definitely with boss design. I'm not sure why he's halfway off the screen. Music, I think, is the best part of this game. I need to see if I have any access to any of these soundtracks. Or any of these tracks I used for this. If not, I might just see if I can rip them somehow from the game. Just play a level and record it. No, I don't think do that. It's horrible. I think this is boss fight and then an escape sequence. Yes, so very... Oh, that's horrible. Very Super Metroid, where you have to kind of figure out the escape sequence. It's a little bit of a maze. Not too hard if you figure out where to go. If you get stuck, I think if you go down one of those two, it kind of is. It's a dead end, but it doesn't take long to get back. First dead end. If I remember correctly, it is doable if you're on the wrong path. You can definitely tell I was trying to go for a Super Metroid thing here. Not sure why that red didn't... One thing I've noticed is you definitely have to make sure when you're testing your games, make sure certain effects like that red flashing effect, it's kind of supposed to be the whole screen. I may not have enough time to go down that end. I may have just horribly made the time limit very short. But definitely make sure you kind of test a lot of that, because sometimes when you build the game, stuff like this happens where that red section is not all the way across the screen, even though it was in the editor. Let's get through here. More obstacles. And then you make your way out. Yeah. I believe that's the end. Yeah, so in the story, the ending, basically, this guy, 91721, he's betrayed because he never knew he was part of Cube. Quits his current employer, I guess employer, Savior? The guy who repaired him. He kind of goes off on his own, although this is not the last we see of him. I might do like a developer commentary. It wouldn't be technically Games Post-Mortem because Neo Force Gaiden was finished and put out. But definitely, I might play Neo Force Gaiden on a video at some point. But that's Shell. I remember putting a lot into this game, but looking back on it, there is a lot that didn't really come out the way I wanted it to. Oh, definitely a special shout out to James. He's the one that kind of started. And I think I said this in Kid Clops, but if you're just learning Unity or game programming development in general, definitely check out James. He's perfect for someone starting out. And I still watch. I use his Udemy courses. Even to this day for certain things where I can't remember how. How do I do very smooth parallax scrolling like we're going to use in the next game? I've gone back and used James as reference points because I'm still learning a lot. And the good news is, well, I'm not the best programmer. My brother is a lot better at it than I am. So going forward, not only is the workload off me a little bit because it's kind of been a one-person thing for a while. Now I have someone to, one, share that workload with me, and two, kind of take the programming job away from me, which is perfectly fine with me because I'm not the best programmer. And you'll know that if you ever see any of the code I write for any of these. It's kind of a mess. But it's a functional mess, more or less. But either way, thank you. If you're watching this, please stay tuned. The next game we're going to check out is Tumultiverse, which is a procedurally generated platformer with kind of a Mega Man-ish style to it. And we'll take a look at that next time.